Believe it or not, in real life, I'm not actually a goblin. I know, it's deceiving. On the other side of this video, I'm just a human. And it's not often I build a deck around a creature that matches my type in real life, but Winota, Joiner of Forces, gives me the chance to hang out with my more non-human friends. Winota is a 2 generic 1 red, 1 white warrior. Human warrior, to be exact. Once she is on the board, once a non-human creature you control attacks, you look at the top 6 cards of your library. If one of those cards is human, you may put that card onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. To make things better, it gains indestructible till end of turn, and the rest of the cards revealed are put on the bottom of your library. At one point, Winota became a very known card in the BRAWL format until it got banned a while back. The ability to generate immediate value off of your creature attacks is exactly the reason this card got so scary. In terms of the most recent builds for Winota, I've seen anywhere from full-on human tribal, heavy stacks, or a token focus. To be fair, most of my theory crafts around her have fallen into the similar categories. My goal for Winota was not exactly to need her to win, but also allow her to add more value if needed. I also didn't build this deck and expect to go off pre-turn 5 and win with a cheeky combo, but given I don't really build a lot of Burrows decks, I want to have some fun. In this case, with a non-traditional Winota build, which includes Slivers. Most Sliver decks are notoriously cheeky and swarmy, and very, very annoying to deal with in a casual setting. And this is definitely not why I chose to turn Winota into a Sliver deck. To talk about some of the Slivers that we have right off the bat, we got Slivers that do the good boost like Bone Splitter Sliver or Sinew Sliver, Slivers that give our army new keywords like Two-Headed Sliver and Cloud Shredder Sliver, and Slivers that burn like Spiteful Sliver and Lava Belly Sliver. We have a lot more Slivers than just these 6, but they all revolve around the same idea of just boosting our army as Slivers do. So as long as they're not blue, black, or green, chances are they're in here. Anyways, as a special appearance, we have Mirror Entity and Irregular Cohort. Mirror Entity is a 2 generic 1 white shapeshifter with Changeling, so it counts as both a human, a Sliver, and whatever other creature type we want. If you pay X until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and base toughness XX and gain all creature types. So hypothetically, if we have a bunch of humans on the board and we want to make them Slivers so they all get the same boost, we just pay as much as we want for this to give everything the boost it needs. Irregular Cohorts is a 2 generic 2 white shapeshifter with Changeling as well, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Because this card counts as a human, we can pull this in with Winota. It also still gets the same boost from all the other Slivers we have. After all that, I need to find humans that would provide immediate value once it was played with Winota's ability. Cards like Bruce Tarl and Ordic Lunar Marshal will provide my future army with buffs and somewhat protect my Sliver horde. Whenever Bruce Tarl enters the battlefield or attacks, it gives one of my creatures double strike or lifelink until end of turn. While Ordic Lunar Marshal says, at the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. And the same is true for Flying, Death Touch, Double Strike, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Shulk, Trample, and Vigilance. There's a lot going on there. And what is white without a little bit of game control? If Winota's ability ends up bringing in Feed Hunter or Grand Abolisher, one allows us to get rid of a creature on a field via exile, while the other locks down ability activation and spellcasting if it's your turn. And I can't be upset at free stacks. These humans are meant to help slow down the game for us if we're a little behind or we're not getting the cards we need, not necessarily giving us outlets for a direct win. Meanwhile, Imperial Recruiter or Recruiter of the Guard would allow me to tutor cards into my hand and thin out my deck, allow me to search for potential game changers like Kiki-Jiki, hypothetically if needed. Yes, I know, another goblin. I couldn't help myself, but I have a reason for each one in here. All the goblins in this deck provide immediate value. Yes, I could put in more if needed, but if I was to do any more, this would just become a human goblin deck. The other goblins that we have in our deck are cards like Dockside Extortionist, which allow for some additional ramp when needed as it creates a treasure token for each artifact and enchantment my opponents control. Legion War Boss, for a 2 generic and a red, has the ability that says at the beginning of each combat on your turn, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, and that token gains haste until the end of turn and attacks this turn of Fable, which provides immediate triggers on Winota if it's in play. While Impulsive Pilferer allows us to use that new Encore ability from Commander Legends, and allows us to create 1 copy of it from the graveyard for each opponent we have. But of course we're exiling the card, but all of these bodies still trigger Winota. While Goblin Champion, a card I focused on last Wednesday's Pauper build, is another quick and easy way to boost a creature or trigger Winota. So many times people will build a deck and expect the table to respect the cards and not touch them at all and just let them do things. But this will hardly ever be the case. You have to make sure you have cards like Lightning Grease, which gives your creatures Haste and Shroud, Sword and Feast and Famine, which gives any creature that's attached to it protection from black and green, in addition to giving you a little bonus of untapping all your lands, and Deflecting Swat, which allows you to choose new targets for a spell or ability. Additional cards like Wave of Aggression allow us to be a bit more aggressive during our turns and make Winota go burr. It untaps all creatures attacked this turn, and after this main phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. So as long as you cast this on your second combat phase, you'll be able to untap all your creatures and swing with them, and then it has Retrace, which allows you to play it from your graveyard. That's basically how this deck is expected to work. While having Winota on the field, use your Slivers and occasional non-Sliver creatures to trigger Winota, pulling in board boosts and pushing out more and more damage. It's very haha, look at rectangles go 90 degrees. But hypothetically, say that doesn't work. As I mentioned earlier, I have included Kiki-Jiki in the list. You could hypothetically add in Splinter Twins as well, like I did. If you're running additional cards, like I am, like, I don't know, Port Razor, Zealous Conscripts, or Combat Celebrant, you could possibly end up with infinite combat phases, or even infinite tokens. As per usual, I'll be streaming some games with this deck in the future, and hopefully see some proper shenanigans. This Winota Sliver deck is just cheeky enough to put a smile on my face at the end of the day, and I'll have the deck list down in the description. If you made it this far, consider subscribing or liking, or telling me what you think of this video. At the end of this, I'm just looking to have a fantastic time playing Magic the Gathering, and I hope everybody else is too. Have a great day, and treat your goblins right. Peace.